What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. First video of 2020. I am so stoked to be back. I'm so glad you guys are back because I have so many plans for this year. Last year, you saw me make a video about the Surface Book 2. It is my absolute favorite laptop. But of course, with editing and stuff, I can't really just use the trackpad for everything. I need a mouse. So today, we're going to be talking about the Surface Mobile Mouse and the Surface Arc Mouse. We're going to talk about the things that make them good, some of the things that make them not so good, and which one you should get depending on your preference, your job, and a couple of other factors. Let's jump into it. So first, we're going to talk about the things that these mice have in common. Mice, mouses, meese. I don't know. They both use Bluetooth 4.1 and have the same wireless frequency, and they both use two AAA batteries to power and come in a variety of colors. This one here is the cobalt blue, and then I've got a basic gray one here to match my current laptop. So there's plenty of selection for you to pick whichever matches your personality, or if you just want to pick the laptop color like I did. And that is exactly where the similarities end between the two mice. These things could not be more different, and that's not exactly a bad thing. So the Surface Mobile Mouse comes in at about $35, and right when you pick this thing up, the first thing you're going to notice is just how sturdy this feels. I'm going to talk about why that's such a pro later when I compare it to the Surface Arc Mouse. It has dedicated left and right mouse click buttons and a solid metal scroll wheel that feels nice and tight. You can feel every single click and roll that you're going through, so you don't accidentally go too far with anything. I would say that this mouse is best for non-editors or people that just want a more traditional mouse experience when they're using a laptop. As far as cons go, there's really only a couple that I might complain about. Number one is just with the scroll wheel, it's not as precise as, say, a trackpad where you can glide down a screen or have horizontal scrubbing through programs like Premiere. With this one, it's just, you can't help but be a little jumpy because that's the nature of the scroll wheel. However, when you click on the scroll wheel, it is programmed by default to be able to drag a web page up and down. It's been this way for as long as I can remember. And of course, with no trackpad, that means there is no horizontal scrubbing through footage or a timeline in programs like Premiere. Now, normally this wouldn't be such a big issue, but in careers like mine, time is literally money. So any couple seconds that you can save by not having to click or do different things to scroll through a timeline for your edit, that's not only going to save you time, it will save your client money, and it will make everybody much happier for you to get your product out sooner. Now, I wouldn't be able to finish talking about the Surface Mobile without saying that there is an option to horizontally scroll by using the scroll wheel. You just have to go up and down, but again, it's just not quite as precise as using a trackpad. Moving on to the Surface Arc Mouse. I gotta admit, this thing, it scared me a little bit at first. It took some time to get used to. Case in point, this is how it came. And you can see it's very flat and weird looking. There's no arc whatsoever. But lo and behold, now it's on. That's just so weird. Look, off, on, off, on. I have come to love the arc design on this mouse. It allows me to rest my hands while I'm scrolling on a web page or editing, and I don't think I'll be getting carpal tunnel anytime soon, but if that's something that you worry about, this gives your hand, again, something to relax on, and that way your hand doesn't cramp up as quickly as it normally would. Another great feature about the arc design is that as soon as you turn it this way, it's on and ready to go. You don't have to flip it over and push a button like on the Surface Mobile Mouse. As soon as it goes from this to this, you're good to go. You don't have to wait for anything to pair. It's automatically paired and usable. As you can see, there is no dedicated left and right click like on the Surface Mobile, but of course, when you use your left finger, your right finger, it will do the same functions as the Surface Mobile Mouse. It also has the feature which allows you to program a 3-finger click, which you can use to open up, say, Cortana or a host of other things. The Surface Mobile Mouse does have a comparable option. You can program the clicking of the scroll wheel, but of course, you would lose the default setting of being able to drag up and down on a screen, which you don't have to lose with this touchpad. And speaking of the trackpad, that's one of the biggest draws of this mouse. Instead of jumping by a certain distance when you're using a scroll wheel like on the Surface Mobile, this one glides across a page, giving you more precision to be able to look at things exactly how you want to look at them. And of course, having the touchpad means you do have the option of horizontally scrolling in programs like Premiere. I wouldn't quite call it a necessity to have, but just the added convenience of being able to do that really speeds up the workflow while you're editing. And again, time is money, and who doesn't want to save money? I probably shouldn't have mentioned saving money because that is one of the biggest cons of this mouse. Where the Surface Mobile mouse was only $35, this one clocks in at 80 bucks. I don't know about you, but $80 for a mouse, that just, that hurts my soul to know that I have to pay that much money for a mouse. As well, the material on this mouse is almost a complete 180 from how the Surface Mobile was. It's got this weird rubbery texture to it, and you couldn't tell by touching this thing because it feels so much cheaper than the Surface Mobile despite having a more complex design inside of it. It just, when I first picked it up, I thought I was gonna break it in my hands. It just feels pretty cheap. Once you get used to it though, it's not that big of a problem. It's pretty comfortable underneath your hand, like I said, when I rest it, when it's turned on. But just, it was a jarring experience to say the least when I first used this. And this is just more of a nitpick than a con, but the sound of using this mouse when I'm clicking on it, it shocked me at first how loud this was, which is kind of weird considering this is supposed to be marketed as like the ultimate travel mouse while you're working. So you would think like when you're on an airplane or an office or your hotel or something, you would want to keep things quiet and not, sound like you're breaking very small bones every time you press the button. So, which of these mice is right for you and which one should you get? I really can't say. Honestly, it boils down to just whatever your preference is. I mean, the Surface Arc mouse does have a much cooler, sleeker design, and it has the cool touchpad which comes with a variety of features. However, the material of this may be a big enough turnoff for some to where they don't want this kind of mouse, as well as the fact that the scroll wheel on the Surface Mobile does have comparable options to the touchpad itself, so long as you're willing to sacrifice how you get to those features. And again, just the loudness of this click, I don't know why it drives me that crazy, but man, just... So if you're somebody that wants a more traditional experience with their mouse and someone that likes the feel of a sturdier built device, you might be more inclined to go and save some money and just purchase the Surface Mobile. Keep in mind though, the Surface Mobile is definitely better for travel though. The lay flat design can fit into bags much easier, and at the end of the day, you just can't deny the convenience factor that comes along with having the touchpad. Sometimes not needing to use alternative motions to speed up your workflow is worth spending a little bit of extra money. So in my personal opinion, as an editor, that's why I've chosen to stick with the Surface Arc mouse. But let me know what you guys think. Have you purchased one or the other? Which one do you prefer? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, because major things are coming in 2020. Major things coming in 2020. Stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys in the next video.